I say this about all the modalities. Like sometimes it's not actually the modality, but there's like something else that's happening, right? So I do so many different modalities, and really what I'm doing is loving people. Like what I'm doing is listening to people, being there for them, and loving them.
Welcome
to another episode
of
As
Woo As
You
Want
with Celine
and Jeremiah and
Debbie.
Yay!
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So we have Debbie with us today, Debbie Attias, and we'll just dive right in. Well, maybe we'll just say, we hope everyone's doing okay. What a month it's been since our last.
What a ride. What a ride.
Yeah, this last month between podcast episodes was quite a journey.
Ugh. It's been a really bizarro moment in our history, but also, I don't know, there's been some cool stuff personally, emotionally, we're all kind of growing in weird little blips of panic and ease.
Ebb and flows, right?
Ebb and flows.
Yeah. So we hope everyone is doing okay, that you're healthy, that you're safe, that you're being provided for. Thanks so much for listening to us. We hope we are bringing you a little bit of joy during this time. We've gotten some really nice messages on our Instagram, so thank you for that love. That really means a lot to Celine and I.
For sure.
This is like why we do this, is to just share some woo-woo things with you and hopefully woo-wify your lives. So without further ado, we're very excited to have Debbie Attias on our podcast today. And
Yes.
I will just say that, Debbie, how long have we known each other now? It's been over a year, right?
Yeah, I think a little over a year.
That's crazy.
Feels like much longer.
Right?
For me.
So I met Debbie through a mutual friend, of a friend, I guess, kind of, but I did a project for one of her close friends. And Debbie, do you want to just dive into it and let us know what kind of work you do?
Sure. It's complicated. No, I do my brand, my website, my thing is called Fun Heals Everything. And so there's a lot of branches to it. Before all of this, I was working mostly as a healer, doing one-on-one sessions with people, teaching workshops. And then I also have this class that I created called Dancorcism, which is basically my own healing modality, which is a dancing exorcism to get rid of all the bad vibe demons. And it's sort of chakra based. And I'm also working on an album for Dancorcism of original music, which is how I met Jeremiah, because he is helping me tremendously with this album. So those are all the things I'm doing. Right now, I'm doing Dancorcism on Zoom once a week. And that's kind of become my main pandemic focus between finishing the album and just helping uplift, spending an hour dancing and practicing joy with people once a week. That's kind of where I'm focusing now, since I'm not doing as many one-on-one healing sessions right now. So I'm just adapting and still doing the things I do.
Yeah, that's so cool. So besides the dancing to heal, when you're talking about other healing modalities, what kind of modalities are you using? So
I have a little bit of like ADD nature, so I trained in every single healing modality that I was interested in.
Oh,
I
cool.
practice Reiki, I practice breath work, I practice sound
Oh
healing.
my God, all my favorite things.
I'm trained in yoga. Years ago, I used to teach yoga. That was maybe like my gateway
Yeah.
modality into all of this,
Yeah.
yoga and meditation. And then kind of going into the things. Right now, I'm still doing breath work with groups
Yeah.
and individually because it
I
translates.
when it first started, the pandemic, I actually started doing, and I talked about it on the podcast last time. Erin Telford offers these Instagram live breathwork things. Never done it before, and now I'm obsessed. I love the crying.
Yeah, yeah, it's important.
It's
It's really
so heavy.
important.
It's so wonderful the way that you can work through an emotion and it literally just like kind of goes through your body. Like I've never had that happen where you don't have to process why you're feeling a certain way. You just breathe through it. It's like really wild. I'm
Yeah.
very asleep at the wheel on this, so now
Yeah,
I'm
it's one
not.
of my favorite. I mean, of all the tools, even before the pandemic, it's like,
Yeah.
this is where it's at, all the old stuff, everything you're kind of carrying around. And some of us have been carrying stuff around since we were kids. And it just
Absolutely.
like bubbles right up and you're like, oh, it's right there. And you kind of face it and it's really scary and you're like, ah. And then
Yeah.
you keep breathing and you're like, oh, okay, I faced it. And now I don't have to carry it around with me.
And the end of it, when you do kind of regular breathing and that like gratitude or that space that's created is like bonkos to me. It's amazing. Tara, have you done any breath work?
Yeah, I did breath work with Debbie.
Oh,
Yeah, it was awesome. Melissa and I did it. Yeah, no, it was great. And I loved that what you just said, Celine, particularly since the moon is in Cancer right now, and I know that I've been feeling like just like my emotions have been kind of all over the place, like particularly the last few days. But I love this idea of like you don't even have to identify where the feeling is coming from, just like breathe through it and let it be, and you can get to the other side of it, which
yeah.
I just think is such a wonderful idea. So
Yeah, and there's just like you're safe in your body. And I feel like that's what's been so interesting to go through in this time is like we're so afraid of bodies and people and our healing ability and our health. And like breath work has allowed me to really be in my body and be like, okay, like I'm my own anchor and I can do this. And there's a lot of other stuff around me that can help. Like it's just been super wonderful. So I appreciate you doing breath work. I want to do it all the time.
Yes.
yeah. And Debbie, I mean, I feel like your specialty is also like you had such a dope playlist. Like that was the one thing.
Yeah.
It was like it actually like kind of was not counterproductive, but like there were like a couple moments where like the song was so good, like I popped out of like my body and was like, "What's this song? I really want to know what this song." Like I gotta ask Debbie, like, what track is that? But yeah, that was really great, and it's an amazing modality.
For sure. And then the dancing, that's so fun. And how do you work in like chakras? Tell us about that. That sounds like next level cool.
We dance through them basically from the ground up, but it's not like your traditional maybe image of a chakra dance class is probably like a more a different brand of woo-woo, let's say, like some flowy pants and some like tribal music. That is not what it is. This is a little bit more like, okay, we're going to twerk now because we're working on our sexy chakra. So it's just like it's like a Debbie version of the chakras, which is like a little bit more fun and weird. And yeah. And now making these songs, it's like I already had this sort of outline that I was always trying to find songs to fit into. And now it's like, oh, let's make those songs because I know exactly what each one has to feel like and sound like and be themed around. So
So rad.
I want to.
So we just. Oh.
No. I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Debbie?
Oh, no, I was just going to say we just work from the ground up to basically like liberate that energy. And by the end of the class, everyone's just like in love with each other and super high and remembering what life's all about. And it's really transformative.
Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah.
I love that.
I want to talk a bunch more about that. But I also would love to hear, I feel like Debbie, you and I, we've talked a little bit about it. But I'm curious, like, how did you get into this, like, field, like the healing field?
Okay. So for most of my 20s, I was a singer in a band that was my band, me and my best friend. And we actually started that band as a joke. We were just, after the last time we thought the world was ending in 2001, I worked in a bar in New York, and me and my best friend, we just kind of started, it was like this feeling that everyone was going to die and we all had anthrax. And so we just started performing these songs, and we were just kidding. Like, we weren't musicians. We were totally just kidding. And because it was so funny and it was just kind of lightening the mood and cheering people up because we were having fun, it sort of accidentally became a real band. Next thing we know, we're traveling all over the world. We played in Japan. We played in Hawaii. Like, really, this whole whirlwind just took us. And so most of my 20s, like, I got to be a rock star.
Wait a second. What was the band's name? Hold on. This is like very left field now. I'm like, wait, what?
So the band was called Avenue D.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. That's where I lived. And my name is Debbie, and my best friend's name is Daphne. So it's the obvious band name.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was kind of punk rap performance art craziness. Yeah. And basically, long story short, because it could get really long, when the band broke up, it was this very weird drop of energy from just, all the glamour to suddenly being like, wait, what do I do now? Like, this is what I've been doing since I graduated college, and I graduated college in 2001. Like, I don't have really a resume. I don't, I went to school for photography. I haven't really done any of that since, and it was pretty much all of my 20s. About the time of my Saturn returns is when we broke up, LOL. So, I was sort of, depressed and felt like, where'd everyone go? Where did my life go? It was like suddenly crickets. And I'm sure, it's an experience. People talk about it a lot. Is anyone who has that kind of attention and energy coming at them, and suddenly it passes, because it always does. It's kind of a drop. So that led me on this journey to sort of be like, okay, well, all of my New York dreams came true. I'm going to leave New York forever and go live somewhere really beautiful in nature, and just kind of figure out who I am without Avenue D, without New York. And so I started with a bicycle trip across the country with a friend of mine, just to think about life. I think it was partially just my ego couldn't just be like, well, I'm moving home now. It was like, no, I'm going to do something really big and crazy. But it was actually,
You biked across America?
Yes. In 2008 while
so
the
awesome.
economy was crashing.
How long did that take?
So I flew to LA, where my friend Karen, I was like, hey, I have this crazy idea. I want to bike across the country. And she's like, oh, I've always dreamed of doing that. Let's do it. And it was like, the next day I called her like, were you kidding? Because I wasn't kidding. And next thing you know, I fly to LA, and it took us 3 months-ish. Neither one of us had anywhere to be. So we took our time. If we were having fun somewhere, we would stop for a couple days. We made lots of friends along the way, and had a blog where we shared all our zany stories.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just a lot of time in nature, a lot of time exercising, obviously, and connecting with people. And just, I don't know, my takeaway from that was just that that the country is actually really beautiful and that people are really kind and generous for the most part. We had such a great experience. But then when I ended that, I was like, well, now what? And I moved to Miami, which is where I'm originally from, thinking, well, I'm going to go home now. But I had lived in New York since I was 17, so home is a tricky understanding. So in Miami, I did a yoga training, and eventually I moved to LA, and then I was still teaching yoga, and I got into meditation. I met a lady in a new age bookstore. I was like totally at the Bodhi tree, like trying to find answers. And this lady, just like this long gray haired woman, picks me up and offers to initiate me into transcendental meditation for free.
Wow.
I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I don't know what that is. She's like, people pay a lot of money for this. Like,
they do.
Okay, I'll do it. Anyway, just one adventure after the other, but it was sort of, kind of realizing, I had this moment where I realized, okay, like my 5 minutes in the sun has now passed, my 15 minutes, I had them. And now I just want to sort of help other people get to feel that, I know that what I can do is make people feel good and bring fun and bring joy. And like, how can I help people? So actually what I decided I was going to do was go to school for dance therapy. And then I got into Pratt, and I got into this Naropa in Colorado.
Oh my God, Naropa!
I visited both, and then something inside of me was like, New York, I miss New York. Move back to New York. I just want to go back to New York, and almost like, because I had a very dramatic, like I'm leaving forever moment. So it was kind of like, oh, hey guys, I'm back, LOL. But it's to go to school, and then at the last minute, I decided not to go to school, even though I did all the prerequisites, did everything I was about to do. And then right before I put that $100,000 loan application in, I was like, you know what? Maybe I just wanted to move back to New York, and I'll just make up my own dance therapy. I'll just make up my own thing, which in comes Dancorcism, right? Using everything I'd learned with all these healing modalities, thinking if I had $100,000, I could travel all over the world and study every like healing modality and visit every shaman and curandera, thinking there's just other ways besides this one kind of academic way to heal, and sort of just decided to take the alternative path. And then basically that's how I got into all these modalities. I mean, I could go longer, but I think that's as short as I'll go with this story.
No, that's great, because I think that that gives a really beautiful context to Dancorcism and like why I love it so much. Because even for instance, like the opening and closing music to this podcast that I wrote, like there's so much, particularly music and spirituality, right? Like there's a very kind of like stereotypical idea of like what like spiritual music is supposed to be. And like I think you and I have the same feeling where it's like all music is spiritual. And like it's really up to like how you kind of ingest it or use it in your life. So like when I was writing that music, I was like, I'm not gonna do this like long droney type of thing with like no rhythm where you're just like, I don't even know where I am. I was like, I want it to be like fun and engaging and almost like kind of aggressive. And I love that with like the Dancorcism stuff where it's like, when we first met, and you were telling me about your project, I was like, this is so cool. Cause in the past, what Debbie was doing was she'd literally like curate these playlists where you'd like work your way up through the chakra system and like very carefully would select like what the first chakra song is, like both on like a sonic level and a lyric level, and use that for the class in order to like work through that energy and like do that with each one. And like, do you mind like just sharing some of the songs that you've like used for certain chakras so people can kind of get an understanding?
Just like other songs. Yes. Yeah. So, like for the second chakra, which is your sexy chakra, I was using like Prince, Erotic City.
Yeah.
Maybe a Le Tigre for your third power chakra. I feel like now I have to look at a playlist. I don't know, like, Tiffany, I think we're alone now. And there's a part where I have everybody kind of beat their chest and scream. And that's like, sometimes I put it in the heart chakra, sometimes in the throat chakra. Some of them can kind of,
interchange,
balance between the two. Just all kinds of stuff.
I mean, I think it's really cool because there is definitely like a space for that kind of modality within like a healing world that doesn't exist really right now. Like a fun, energetic, like light and exciting kind of like, I know why Jer is like, I love it, because it's like fun.
It's great. I mean, I finally did it like, I think it was like December. I'm forgetting.
The last live one.
Yeah, it was like one of the probably, and I was like, "This is so much fun." I mean, it was just so much fun, and it went by like so quickly, which for me is like always a testament to like how much fun I was having. It was like the time just like really flew by, but in a wonderful way, and like. Now, Debbie's been bringing these songs to me and we've been working on them together. And she's been working with a lot of different co-writers to kind of create her own music for this program or class. And to like be able to experience it was like super helpful, like for me, at least with the project. But I also love how like you have these choreographed dances, that you can or you don't have to use, so it's like it's kind of up to you, but it's just like a really nice permission slip to like let your body just move and be free and do what it wants to do. And like, so the choreographed dance is really nice because if you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my body, you have like something to hold on to and follow. But if you're like, fuck this, I don't want to, you could do whatever you want. Like my very good friend, Noah, he hasn't been going as much now, but like he went to Five Rhythms for a while, and Five Rhythms is an amazing program. And I know like every teacher is different. So my experience when I went there one time is going to be different than other people's, but I just remember going and like, I'm a very open person. I'm just ready to go. Like you don't have to break me open. Like I'm open. And so when I went to the class, like they were like, okay, now you're going to do like this thing where it's like, you can only move in this way. And I was like, I don't want to move in that way. I want to move in my own way, And so like there was this sense of like restriction in a situation where I felt like you needed and wanted to feel like open. And also it was a little bit more like that spiritual kind of music vibe thing versus like what Debbie's doing.
I mean, I'll say like as an acupuncturist, using that kind of like ambient sound is helpful during
absolutely
that, but that's like obvious, right? Like I wouldn't play like, Prince during a session. It would be a different kind of session. But I do really find like and I say this to clients a lot when we're doing treatments, like sometimes figuring out music and like what makes them feel comfortable or zone out or allow them to tap into whatever they need to is sometimes the most difficult part of a session for me. Like, and everyone is different. Everyone has a different like experience that they need. But I joke about it with clients. I'm like, this is the hardest part of my job. Like when I'm leaving, I'm like, is this sound okay? And they're like, no. And then I'm like, okay, like, well, like it's like a few different ways I can handle that. But so I totally get like, sound, vibration, that allowing you to enter whatever space you need to be in to heal. So
yeah,
I'm also like not fun.
I don't believe that.
I mean, I'm not like a dancer in a group, maybe sometimes at home. So like this modality makes me not maybe uncomfortable. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Well, I think my
guess I should try.
specialty is people who say they're not dancers. I think
Really?
one of my gifts in the world is sort of like getting the shy person who doesn't want to dance, and
Yeah.
getting people to sing when they say they can't sing and hate their voice, and just kind of sort of
Right.
freeing up that thing, dancing and singing are these basic universal expressions of human joy throughout time, throughout history.
Definitely.
And for some reason, we've reached a point in time where so many people are like, I do not sing, I do not dance, no way. And it's because we're sort of judging ourselves
Right.
before we even do it. And sort of the point of this is to just let loose and not worry about what it looks like or what it sounds like, or, just feel this kind of freedom of moving your body.
I mean, I do love to dance and sing. I just do it usually in my kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about the Zoom classes is that you can still do it in your kitchen.
So,
most people have their cameras on, but you could. Some people turn them off if they feel a little shyer.
Oh, that's cool though that they have that option.
Yeah. So the album that you're making, would it be something that you listen to, like, is every song just a totality of the chakras and you listen to it like as a...
It is conceptual, right? It is conceptual. The idea is that really soon I'll have a video for each song and you'll be able to do a dancercism on your own in your own time with your friends and just go through the album and watch the dances and do them. I'm also thinking about some kind of teacher training, healer training. It's just on the project to-do list, finish the album, make the videos, get the teacher training up. So then I would give you this album as like, here's a starting point. Go ahead and make your own playlist and do your own thing. But here's a sanctioned set of songs that will work. And then you can go from there. So yeah, but obviously I want them to go beyond that. Maybe you're going to really like a song and just want to listen to it or dance to it when you're not doing dancercism. I want them to work in both. I'm hoping that they will all work in both ways. But I think once you dance to the song, and then hopefully we'll all be dancing together at some point again. And, you have this experience, you move with 100 people to this song, like hopefully it will then create kind of a joyful neural pathway. Whenever you hear that song, you're going to feel good and happy because you're going to remember this really happy moment you had. Yeah. So
that's cool.
It has an intention of uplifting and just, yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
And so you've been doing, Debbie, like how many Zoom sessions have you done now?
I think I can actually just look based on the playlists. There are 6 of them. So 6 weeks that we've been in quarantine.
That's amazing.
Right? Yeah. And they've been really, really beautiful. I mean, there is something really special that's happening. It's just like this place for us to be together and connect, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, the other day Jeremiah and a couple of our friends, we have weekly Zoom calls. Yeah.
I totally forgot. Right, yeah.
And last one, our friend Joe, who he was talking about, was just like made this like impromptu like DJ moment and just started playing all these songs. And like there was, I think, 5 or 4 of us, and all of us were just like dancing, and it was so fun, even on a Zoom. And I was like, this is rad. So I totally can see how that could be really uplifting and get you into a really good space. Because it was. Remember, Jer?
Yeah, that's I totally forgot. All of the Zoom calls like blend together. So it's like, he basically like streamed 97.1, like Hot FM. No, not Hot FM. What is it?
Hot 97.
Hot 97. And was like live streaming, pulled up like a live stream of like Times Square and just like broadcasted on our Zoom, and we were all just like dancing and having a good time.
It was like shockingly well done. I was like, do you do this like privately and you didn't tell us?
Yeah. So I mean, it's incredibly healing, moving your body, particularly at a time where it's like people aren't moving their bodies a lot. Right?
Yeah.
So it gives you like a really nice window to like just shake a lot of energy out, because, you know, people are sitting around with like stagnant energy and you got to get it out.
You got to move it.
Just like the breath work, right? You got to get
the breath work.
Oh my God.
Got to get that.
Yeah, it's funny to have I have one breath work class a week and one Dancorcism class a week. And the Dancorcism is so, you know, joyful and happy. And then breath work is like a little bit, we share our feelings and we're crying and we're doing the things, but they sort of work, you know, they work together. And that's not to say people do find really blissful moments in breath work. And sometimes people cry at the end of Dancorcism. So,
yeah,
you know, it all has it all, but I just keep thinking about how like, okay, this is happy time and this is feeling my feelings time. And, you know, they all kind of work together.
Yeah. And at the end of Dancorcism, you do like a Shavasana.
Yeah, you lay down and there's some stillness. And that's sometimes when you can find some feelings show up because you've been just going crazy. And I think, you know, in any, like, it can be hard for people to just sit and meditate, especially New Yorkers. Like if, like, okay, I'm going to sit and meditate. Your mind's going crazy. You have a lot floating around. But I feel that after any time you do something really intense or you move your body or you jump around, like it's so much easier. And like breath work too, it's so much easier to go into a really deep meditation once you've sort of worked off a lot of that excess energy.
I don't know. This isn't like me doing like a shout out, but kind of. I've been doing these at home workouts by this woman named Kat Hurley. Do you know Kat Hurley? She does like real intense, like cardio, moving, high intensity things. And at the end of them, she always does a meditation. And I was like, it's wonderful because you move, you're jumping, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of it, you go into your body and I don't know. It's just, it feels like a very intuitive way of moving energy and then processing and sitting with it. It's cool. But I don't know. My friend told me about it. It's great.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that too. I feel like that's like one of my favorite things about Dancorcism, as well as, you know, yoga and what I guess this woman is doing too, is I think it's really smart to take a moment to like integrate what just you experienced and let yourself kind of breathe and be still after all of that movement, right? Because like you know, most workouts, like you run, you do all this stuff, and then you just like hop in the shower. Like you don't really take a moment to like just acknowledge the work that you put in.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's pretty cool. All the things we're doing are cool. We're all going to be all right, I think. But I do, so as like someone who does, you usually, and before this, we're like with people, right? Like breath work, Reiki, tarot, one-on-one. So I feel like we both have had a moment where we're like, oh, cool, now we're virtual. We're virtual healers. And I find I haven't found exactly like my footing in that world. How has that process been for you? Like, tell me so I can learn.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to talk to other people and be like, what
interesting. Are you doing? At first, you know, a lot of people that I know, like Erin, have been doing virtual breath work since long before the pandemic, right? Yeah, and it's always been one of those things like, oh, I should really start something like that, or I should really figure out this virtual thing. I should really do it, like, you know, distance healing. And then I would always just be like, yeah, but who wants to do that? That's no fun. I want to be in person. I don't want to do that. I want to be with people. That's what I love and what I live for. And
yeah.
So this was a very like forced, kicking and screaming kind of, I don't want to, but I have to. And kind of that first week, I remember having this feeling of like, I kept teetering between like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm not going to work. It's all over, to like, no, I'm going to be creative. No, I'm going to be resilient. No, I'm just going to adapt and I'm going to figure something out. Like, in that first week I was sort of paralyzed and I didn't do anything. And I could just find myself slipping into each side of that. And obviously the resilient one,
took over.
won over and took over because I had to. And also because a lot of people were asking me to do Dancorcism, which I hadn't been teaching on a regular basis anymore because I was just focusing on the album. So I was like, well, this is what I'm being asked to do. But I have to say that with the breath work, the first one I did, I was kind of surprised. I was blown away by how much energy work actually works through the computer. I was like, wait, really? Whoa.
Yeah. I feel like it's such a, for me, it's becoming more of this moment of like, if I really do believe in the exchange of energy, it could just happen no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's in person or through a computer, like, it's just sort of this like construct. So I'm like, well, I definitely could, so it's making me reevaluate a bit. I'm like, this is real. What we do is real.
My mom is actually an acupuncturist also. And and she's been doing a lot of cool stuff. She's teaching. She was already teaching at an acupuncture school. So she has that going on, but she's been giving these classes, like self acupressure for fear and anxiety, which I did, which was really fun. And, just kind of, she's still working with people, but just in a new way,
right?
Because sometimes, and I say this about all the modalities, like sometimes it's not actually the modality, but there's like something else that's happening, right? So I do so many different modalities, and really what I'm doing is loving people. Like what I'm doing is listening to people, being there for them, and loving them. I mean, that's what I think healing is really about. And so whether you're doing that with your hands or with music or with dancing or with needles or with whatever it is, it's really the presence and the love that you have to offer,
For sure. Yeah.
So I think trying to find ways that, it goes beyond the shingle that we hang outside of our door, but just sort of like, I'm still here for you. Like right now, people really, so many people are just in these states of fear and anxiety. And, you have so much obviously to offer as far as tools to handle that.
It's just an interesting, I think it's wonderful. A really interesting time to be in the healing arts when you're in a pandemic.
In a pandemic, totally.
It's a total game changer. I don't know. So I'm always just interested to hear how everybody's doing. So.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
After the elections a few years ago, I felt like we were all being like called to action. Like suddenly everyone was like traumatized and stressed and panicked. And it was like, okay, like
here we go.
Step it up. And I feel like this is
it too.
Another one of those moments.
It totally is.
This is like what we train for, not necessarily literally with the modalities, but to hold the light when everyone's kind of afraid of the darkness or something.
Yeah, I know. That's wild. It's really, truly wild.
Yeah, that's beautiful though, the way you articulated that, Debbie. I love that. Yeah.
Well, we got a lot.
Yeah.
I love it.
Was there anything else you wanted to share, Debbie? We can always edit this too, by the way. So.
Okay. I think I don't know. What else can I share? Just the Dancorcism is on Sundays at 4 Eastern Time, and Breathwork is on Thursdays at 6 Eastern Time, and you can find me at Fun Heals Everything.
Fun Heals Everything.
Yeah.
And people also, I mean, you're also connected with Maha Rose, right?
Yeah, I'm also doing some classes through them. People can also book healing sessions, tarot readings, Reiki, distance Reiki, and breath work through Maha Rose too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. This was perfect and wonderful and delightful as always.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, I feel like, Debbie, you're doing such wonderful work, particularly in this moment when, like we were talking about, everything's remote. And, you know, seeing your like Instagram and like just this huge Zoom grid of people like moving around is just such a cool image, you know? And so it's just, I think we're all very blessed to have you here and continue doing your beautiful work and spreading that love and light and that fun, that dancey vibe.
Guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything you're doing too.
Yeah.
Spreading that love and that light.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I mean, this Dancorcism project is like a dream project. When Debbie and I met, and she was telling me about it, I think that was, we were talking about, you know, the different songs, and she was describing what became to be called Booty Roots, which is
the first chakra song.
First chakra song. And she was like describing it to me, and I was like, oh, like Kali. And Debbie like stopped. She was like, oh, you get it. You get it. And I was like, this is awesome. I couldn't
believe it.
It was like, it was such synchronicity. You. Like, I was like, the universe literally like brought me the project. It's like music, spirituality, like really cool stuff with an amazing person. Like, it was just it's been a blessing, like working together. So
I am beyond grateful for you, Jeremiah. I'm so stoked about these songs. I am really, 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 really grateful.
Yeah. So with that
magic that we're making,
with that in mind, like everyone get ready, because there's some cool, awesome music coming out.
Yeah.
Keep it on your radars. Okay. And with that,
all right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Debbie.
Hopefully I'll see you in real life sometime.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
All right. Well,
okay,
I hope everybody stays safe and has fun and does some dancing.
Yes.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, till the next.
Bye, everyone. Love you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.